So good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Welcome to our webinar that will be talking about news in upcoming product version Flowmon 10.2. My today guest is Rostislav Lištvan, who is our product manager for NPMD products. Hello, Rostia.
Hello, everyone.
And just before we start, a few notes. You are all muted, so if you want to raise any questions, and please do raise questions anytime throughout the call, use questions tab in the options menu of the GoToWebinar window. We'll be recording the whole session, and we'll share the recording with you after or in a few days after we close the session. All right, I think that's all for the beginning. Rostio, I'll give the word to you, and I'll be jumping in when I receive some questions or I have some comments.
Okay, thank you very much for the introduction, Artur. So Flowmon 10.2, it's quite a packed release, so let's get started. We have a lot of things to cover. Just to check, the presentation is visible, right?
It is being shared, yeah.
Okay, so let's start with a little repetition of the current releases, the existing one and the new ones. So as you probably know, our last stable version of Flowmon, which is currently available, is Flowmon 10.1. It was originally available in January, or it was launched in January 2018, and now the most current bug fix release is Flowmon 10.1.6. It was also quite a packed release, so if you haven't checked what is in there, feel free to read the blog post or watch the previous presentation. As for Flowmon 10.2, the beta release was launched on a very last day of May, on 31st, and it is still available as a beta release. We are currently expecting that we can have a stable version by the end of August, sometime around the period, so approximately by the end of summer vacation. There are some required compatibility modules, but they are already launched, so there shouldn't be any compatibility issues or missing modules. So feel free to try it on your own in the beta mode, and just, if possible, send us your feedback. So let's take a look on what's in the actual release, right? First thing that we've worked on, or thing that has been much improved in Flowmon 10.2, is the alerting. And basically, we are expanding the capabilities by two things. First is the ability to create alerts for aggregated NPM metrics. So you can now define the alerts for example, round trip time, number of retransmissions and stuff like that, which is quite useful when you want to see the degradation of your network in terms of performance. So this is very useful. In Flowmon 10.1, we have worked a lot on the NPM metrics, how they are calculated. We've changed the way or how some of the NPM metrics were calculated. So in 10.2, we are expanding that and adding the capabilities to define alerts for aggregated NPM metrics.
I've actually seen one of our customers who is already running on the beta version, and what they did is on the dashboard, they actually have metrics for Office 365 performance. So they measure performance for different applications like mail, slides, etc. And next to this widget on the dashboard, they also have alerts, and they get alerted if there's any degradation on network latency versus the server latency of the Office 365. So that's very useful.
Yeah, so that's perfectly, this is a great example of typical use case, how these alerts can be set up.
We're actually sharing the version with notes. Can you just switch it to from the presenter mode?
Oh, just if you can do that, please. I'm not sure where that is.
I think it's. Oh no, we're struggling with the tools today.
I think we can share. Just switch to second one.
There we go.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, so we basically talked about this slide. So here's a better screenshot where you can see the alert edit screen where these metrics can be selected. You are able to select the average or maximum values, define the values either absolute or average by a specific period, and then you can see. Should I hide this as well?
No, we're good. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Second improvement in alerting is the ability to define alerts for 30-second profiles. So with that, you can basically trigger, the alert can trigger basically in 30 seconds, which is almost immediately. So it further improves the response time to any issues that are determined in your network. And it can be, again, easily combined with the previous alerts for NPM metrics. So in case number of retransmission increases, you can get some alert that will notify you.
So in this case, 30 seconds should be the highest mean time from the actual event happening to the alert being triggered. Is that okay? Yeah. Okay.
So same or similar screenshots, but on the side in the alert details, you can see that there are the values also for 30 seconds. So this is two major improvements with regards to alerting. As the next improvement, that is kind of similar, but it's more specific and specifically related to Cisco devices, is that for Cisco, we are now able to map the Cisco AVT RAT metrics to our NPM metrics. So,
and maybe just to explain what this is, we have quite a lot of customers who are running their infrastructure on Cisco, and their appliances are capable of exporting sort of logs or flow data that actually measures network and server response times. And we understand this proprietary sort of fields that they can export to Flowmon Collector. So you don't even need Flowmon Probe to be able to do network performance monitoring, right?
Exactly. And yeah, as you mentioned, the great way or the good thing is that we are treating it as the same way as our NPM metrics from the probe, so it can be displayed in the reports that is mapped to our fields. You can define alerts for them, and basically we are treating it the same way as our own NPM metrics measured by probe. So this is stuff that we've added for Flowmon 10.2, and we were able to support some previous in previous versions. We are able to support some fields already, but this time we are basically adding support for network time, response time, and number of retransmissions.
So it should be fairly easy to sort of deploy, and also obviously there's the cost efficiency for not buying probes and using the already standing infrastructure to provide the data.
So much for alerting and NPM metrics, and I think that we can move to the next topic, which is the support for Amazon VPC flow logs. So Amazon VPC flow logs, we are obviously talking about cloud monitoring of the status or of the cloud environment. And in Flowmon 10.2, we are able to collect, process, and visualize the VPC flow logs that we gather from Amazon Cloud via the Amazon CloudWatch system. We are basically processing it and converting it to IPFix via our own converting daemon, and basically send it to Flowmon Collector to define the UDP port. So in a way, it then behaves as a normal flow logs, and you can do whatever operations, same operations as with normal flow logs. So you can create reports, go into analysis, go down into details, and basically check what's going there, what's going into Amazon Cloud.
This is actually very interesting, and it's quite a similar case as with the Cisco metrics that we saw before, in a way that you can actually, like, after you deploy any applications to Amazon AWS, you don't even need to like deploy any sensors in there. You just get the native sort of flow data that Amazon provides. But what is also interesting, and what I just wanted to make a remark, is that I believe last week, or no, sorry, it was 2 weeks ago, on 25th, I believe, of June, Amazon actually announced that they are providing a VTAP feature, which actually gives you the capability of seeing the raw traffic inside of their environment. And Microsoft has the similar in Azure, a similar thing, and we've been, we're early adopters of that thing since like April this year. And Amazon just came up with the same thing. We're also early adopters. So you today actually have two options. You can either tap in to the network using native capabilities of Amazon or Azure, send the raw traffic data into Probe, and let Flowmon Probe create the statistics. Or alternatively, you can take the statistics directly from Amazon, but they're obviously very limited, right, compared to Flowmon. So it depends on what you're expecting from the data.
That's correct. Just a side note, the traffic mirroring, as Amazon calls it, it's currently in the beta phase, so it might not be available for all regions, all the data centers, but eventually. And these are quite like comparable ways how to get the visibility into Amazon cloud traffic. So either use these flow logs or traffic mirroring.
And I know that you still have some more slides on Amazon flow logs, but we have questions to the Cisco ABC metrics, and that's whether these are all the metrics that we can support, or is it only those four metrics?
There is more. As I mentioned, we already supported some previously prior to Flowmon 10.2. We just added support for those that were missing. So the full list will be in our documentation. I think the document supported flow formats or something like that.
So on the Flowmon portal, in the knowledge base, or the documentation, you'll find the Flowmon supported standards document, where there'll be description of all supported fields, not only for Cisco, but across the whole landscape.
Okay, so just let's take a quick look on the configuration, because it's really straightforward, it's simple, and I would just want to show you. So of course, first of all, you have to do all the things in Amazon to enable the flow logs to be published to CloudWatch. So there is a guide from Amazon that is available, but in Flowmon, it's very simple. All you have to do is to create a new listening port on the configuration center, where you define new port basically for this flow logs to be received on. Second is the configuration of the AVS flow logs. So you have to have some shared secret that is issued by Amazon. You have to know the access key ID, access key secret, and then you select the listening port that you've previously configured. You can then select the region. So this is basically means the data center from which the flow logs will be sent. And once you do so, there is a connection check that basically tries to connect with the credentials you provided to the data center you specified. And if everything is working correctly, you have started to receiving flow logs from Amazon private cloud. So it's pretty straightforward. There is documentation that is covering this setup and configuration in more details. So if you are interested, just open our documentation and you can find out more about this. So this was pretty much about everything about VPC flow logs, and this is again something that is part of our way towards the cloud monitoring and cloud support. Moving to the next topic, that's IoT ICS monitoring, so protection of industrial control systems, SCADA networks. In Flowmon 10.2, we've added support for two new protocols. First two are based on the IEC 61850 standard, Goose and MMS. These protocols are used for energy distribution networks. The LMS protocol is used in smart metering. So these are quite, I would say, specific protocols used in industrial system monitoring. And we've are able to get information from them. We are able to go get some specific information that is in these protocols. So, for example, there are really, for the Goose protocol, there are some information such as application ID, data set, Goose ID, and stuff like that. It might not tell you much if you don't know these protocols, but if you do these, going into this level of detail, this will be very helpful to troubleshooting, find any security issues, security dangers, and stuff like that.
So this is actually based also on requirements that we get from our customers. We have a lot of customers from the utility sort of area, and with Glomon they used to monitor the corporate network, and they also wanted to use the same logics of visibility to be applied to their industrial part, the OT part sort of the network. So they can kind of have a one-tool monitoring it all. Obviously, we don't go as deep in as specialized SCADA OT troubleshooting tools, but for majority of problems that may occur in that space, we're able to see that and tackle that down. And we'll be extending those protocols that we support, and we'll be also adding detection methods so that off the shelf we automatically detecting events and incidents within that traffic.
That's right. Yeah. What's kind of next step we have the data, we can now work with them, detect events, anomalies, and threats. So moving on to the next topic, that's enhanced LDAP support. It's really big thing because we have improved the way how we can integrate with LDAP very much in Flowmon 10.2. So we have made some small changes and some large. First of all, a couple of things. The user ID attribute can be now configured in the way you want. So in case you have your user ID stored in a different under different ID, you can change it. Then you have the ability to use two search bases. So one for user accounts, second for the groups. And what is very important is that you can use group to role mapping, which I will explain in a minute. And this means that you can basically browse into the LDAP structure and select a group and map it directly to a role in Flowmon, which is very straightforward. It's the easiest that you can do, to integrate LDAP. In addition to that, we also added support for nesting, which allows you to which basically allows you to have inheritance of permissions based on your either parent-child relationships. So I will explain that more on the next slide. So as for the mapping, it's very straightforward, as I said. So you may be familiar with our standard LDAP configuration screen. So there is just one new option to add mapping. And if you enable it, so you have to enable it, then you add the mapping or create the mapping. And it works very simply. You just browse the LDAP structure, if you have everything configured properly, of course. You browse the LDAP structure, you select your desired LDAP group, and then you map it to a specific Flowmon role that it exists. If you saved it, then you can see that the mapping has been created, and that's it. Basically, every user under the given group has the specific role that has been mapped in Flowmon. So it's very simple.
Was it the last slide for LDAP? No, not yet. So I have one thing to.
Yeah.
After that, yeah.
One more thing, and that's the nesting. So I've mentioned that we are able to, basically the nesting allows you to inherit your access rights or permissions from your parent or from your child. There are basically two options. First is we call it inherit from parents, which means that you have some parent group, let's call it group A, which is mapped to a specific Flowmon role A. And the Flowmon role A has assigned a specific flow source. If you enable the inheritance or enable the nesting and you have the inherit from parents option selected, then the groups that are below the group A, the child of the group, the children of the group A, we can call them, with this setting enabled, they also are assigned to a group or to a role A automatically, and they have access to flow source A. Second option is the obtain from child option, and it works similar but quite different way. You have group A, and this time it's not mapped to any specific roles, but you have child groups, group A1 and group A2, and they are mapped to two different roles in Flowmon, which again have access to specific flow sources. With this nesting enabled and with this opt-in from child option set up, the group A again automatically inherits or is automatically assigned to role A and role B, and thus it has access also to flow source flow source 1, and flow source 2. So we've kind of thought on both scenarios that can happen basically in enterprises and in large companies. Either you can have the inheritance from the bottom or from the top to your children. So this is fully configurable, customizable, and you can use it the way you prefer or the way it suits to your organization.
So this is very interesting, especially in two cases. One is MSP, where you're using a single instance of Flowmon to provide services to multiple tenants or customers, where you can very granularly and comprehensively rule on who has access to what sorts and types of data and what are their roles. But also we see more and more often in companies that actually IT organization lives in silos, right? And networking people have shared sort of tasks with security people, and they need to cooperate on some activities. However, they might have different priorities, they have different tool sets, and they have different SLAs. So what we're trying to achieve and what we believe is the future of Flowmon is to provide all these involved IT teams a single sort of source of understanding of some event. And to be able to do that, we also need to make sure that we can control their accesses in a comprehensive way, so that people are not overwhelmed with data that are not relevant to them and see what is actually relevant to them. So this is actually one of the small steps and pillars that we're trying to raise, so that upon them we can build comprehensive solution for different IT teams to cooperate on incident resolution. Yeah,
that's definitely something that is a step forward to this. Maybe one thing to add is that for the old way, how we integrated with LDAP, it's not changing. It is still there. If you upgrade to Flowmon 10.2, nothing changes. You don't have to use mapping. You don't have to use nesting. It's completely up to you. You can use the old way or even combine it. So don't worry to upgrade to Flowmon 10.2. Nothing will be broken.
Well, fingers crossed anyway.
Fingers crossed. If so, our support will resolve it immediately. So other improvements, some things that we've worked on as well that we've added. Probably a thing that you will notice is that we have done some performance optimizations. So in case you had many flow sources, many channels, you should feel the difference in responsibility. So it should behave smoothly, more smoothly. It should not be so how to say it, so laggy, stuff like that. We also changed, or we also added options to configure the channels to not configure some metrics. So there is option to not calculate NPM and traffic charts. You can disable it completely and the channel definition, which can again speed up the way how Flowmon behaves. And you can, for example, disable some channels completely if it makes sense, if you are just testing something or something like that. You don't have to delete the channel. You can just disable temporarily. Here's a screenshot how it looks. So in the channel definition or in profile definition, when you edit the channel, there are 3 new options: enable channel, disable channel, and there are checkboxes to be able to generate NPM charts or generate traffic charts. So this can be disabled if needed, and there is a representation of this call it limited channel across the whole Flowmon, so you will be aware of such channel. One additional improvement, for Gigamon, for template, basically, from Gigamon devices, we are now able to capture the SSL information such as server name, server type, and other. So from flow data that are captured from Gigamon devices, there is a whole new bunch of new fields that we are supporting it, and that can be used for further analysis.
We actually have more and more customers who purchase Flowmon for the capabilities of we call it encrypted traffic analysis. So with Flowmon probes, you're able to extract information from TLS, sort of handshake part of the traffic, where you can see versions of the encryption and cipher suits and etc. And this is a very good non-invasive method of doing sort of security compliance checking and validation of the level of encryption that you have in your network, because you don't have to decrypt anything. And now this is also available with Gigamon packet brokers, right? That are tapped into the network and can extract sort of flow data as well that we're able to consume. And the supported flow standards document that we were referring to before when we were talking about Cisco AVC metrics, etc., is actually where this screenshot comes from. So all of these are described there, and so that you have a full understanding of what data we can consume.
Yep. Okay, now moving to a next topic, that is improved SNMP monitoring. So we have also highly expanded the capabilities how Flowmon can be monitored by SNMP. We have added several new object groups that can be used, which provide different information. There is appliance info, basic information about the appliance status, which gives you information about the current status of the appliance, load, uptime, disk operation, stuff like that. Very important thing is information about your quotas, so you can get notified in case you are running out of these quotas or something like that for specific profile. Process info, information about the state of the running processes, memory utilization, and disk utilization.
So this is being able to monitor Flowmon as a server or a virtual appliance to see its status, not using Flowmon to monitor other servers in that status.
Yeah, this is about monitoring Flowmon itself, the appliance. So we've added all the information, the details to document to our support portal, and here you can see that we've also took our here you can see the example of usage. So we've took our internal Flowmon that we are using for monitoring of our own network. We've connected to open source monitoring tool Icinga, and you can see the graphs. This is, for example, for available memory. So this shows you the chart with the status of available memory over time. So this is how you can monitor it. In such tool, you can also create some alerts and stuff like that. So this is very, very cool way.
It's obviously easier to see this information about trending from a single dashboard of your SNMP solution, because we have so many customers who are buying virtual or cloud licenses because they're just so scalable and they're easy to move to higher version and bigger storage, and to be able to see how it evolves over the time they use this SNMP monitoring. And I thought we had a new question, but it was just a note that it's good that we've clarified the fact that this SNMP monitoring is the capability of monitoring Flowmon status, not the other way around. All right,
that's correct. That's about monitoring Flowmon appliance. Yeah. So one thing, or some couple of things that we've improved in the configuration backup. In Flowmon 10.1, we have introduced new Flowmon dashboard, and in Flowmon 10.2.1, we have added, or we have expanded the capabilities of our configuration backup and restore to back up the Flowmon dashboard configuration with all the tabs that you have, with all the widgets you have there. So everything that you configured is now part of the configuration backup. So once you restore it, your dashboards will look like the same.
We'll be adding new, and hopefully I'm not jumping in ahead of your presentation. I think that's you'll be talking about that when presenting the Flowmon 11 sort of feature for the November's release. But we'll be adding new widgets to Flowmon, and we'll be focusing a lot of our works around dashboard, because we believe that Flowmon has loads of data and loads of information that are super valuable, but we want to make sure that we give you only the relevant data, and that could be very easily done through the dashboard, so that you're sort of basing on what's interesting to you in your work, and being able to save the configuration of the dashboard that is probably the most valuable thing on Flowmon in day-to-day operations. Not talking about root cause analysis is very important. So again, a lot of the improvements that you see today are super important for the future vision of the product.
That's correct. And one more change or improvement in the configuration backup is that we are also supporting the backup of distributed architecture topology. So this is a thing that can be also selected, which allows you to simply recover the master unit in case it fails. It just replace it, connect a new unit, and do the configuration restore, and the master unit just loads the whole topology. Good. So we are.
Oh, that one I like.
There is one huge improvement in documentation, because we've replaced the PDF version of the documentation with an HTML version. Basically, HTML format has certain advantages, such as much easier navigation, ability to search. And for future, we are also planning to do some improvements, such as cross-referencing of related articles, maybe highlighting of updated pages, so that you know what has been changed in the documentation. You can quickly read those articles and stuff like that. It really has much of advantages that we can use in the future. And the HTML version is currently only in Flowmon. The other modules will be added later. So we have.
So by Flowmon we mean monitoring center.
Yeah, monitoring center. Flowmon operating system collector. Without the modules.
So this is great, because this will actually enable us to sort of provide like hints to the user. Flowmon, there are so many things that you can do in Flowmon, but you sometimes just need a few, and if you come to it after a few days or weeks and you're not really sure where to click, then you can just reference that area where the user is currently working on and just give them a hint into how to operate with this in the user guide. And then from the user guide, you can then tell them, watch this video that will explain the whole concept a bit deeper, and sort of make it just so much easier to learn it, to start using it from the very first day without spending weeks and weeks on training, right?
So I've got a couple of screenshots just to give you example how it looks. You can see it has this cool dark theme, and there is search.
Dark theme.
Yeah,
It's a thing.
It's a thing. Yeah. So we will be. Hopefully, this will make your use of the documentation much easier and improve the user experience in this area. I've mentioned a couple of times that we've updated several documents. So the two most important ones, apart from the user guide, which is actually part of the product, is the supported objects for SNMP monitoring, where you can learn all these MIP files that we've added, and the supported flow standard specification. You can find those on our partner portal, so just log in and they will be there in the appropriate sections.
And we're switching to a new portal. We've actually started this 2 weeks ago. This, I don't want to call it legacy, but it is legacy support portal, is still available in the read-only mode and will be for another few months, but you will be told when accessing this portal to go and try the new portal that is currently running in parallel, that is just so much easier to use and work with, and we will be calling it just simply Flowmon portal instead of Flowmon support portal, because that's too many characters to type.
That's right. So yeah, the documents will be or are available on both portals, and eventually only on the new portal, which will be just portal. So much for the news in Flowmon 10.2. Hope you like it. Hope you will try it on your own, maybe in some virtual machine, play with it a bit.
Just install it to your Azure or AWS and play with it. It's a few clicks, you can just get it from Marketplace and get it running instantaneously. So go ahead and try it and send us your feedback.
And remaining minutes, we will talk, or I would like to mention briefly what is on our roadmap. What release are we planning for the rest of the year? This is about the NPMD area, or Flowmon Pro Flowmon Collector. This doesn't cover modules, ADS, APM, DDoS, and others. So about the NPMD area, we are still planning to major release this year. End of summer, prefer sometime during end of August, I think, there is Flowmon 10.3 scheduled, which will bring a couple of improvements. First is the REST API for management of users' roles, permissions. So simplified administrations for those that are using REST APIs for management of Flowmon. One very important thing is the configuration templates, which is basically a set of like a predefined configuration that offers you a specific view to some part of like network data. It can be, for example, Office 365 traffic or something like that.
And is that applied to the dashboards or also profiles? And how
basically the template consists of chapters, reports, widgets, dashboards, and maybe alerts or something like that. If you select, for example, Office 365 configuration template, apply it, add it to your system, it will create the corresponding chapters, which might be, for example, upload, download to Office 365, stuff like that. It will create corresponding widgets, and from that it will create a new dashboard, a new report. It will consist just of these chapters that are related to Office 365 traffic. So it will, I would say, hugely simplify the configuration of Flowmon, and it will allow, or it will offer some predefined view that you can use.
So, absolutely, and presumably this is the is a configuration file as you know it, right? It's an Excel sort of file that you just upload and sort of without any manual configuration in CLI or anything, right? Just download it from the portal, apply it as a new configuration, just upload the file, and everything gets created, right?
Exactly.
That's great, and we'll be adding more and more types of widgets and predefined reports that come off the shelf, and it'll be great if we can hear some ideas from you.
Yeah, what would you like to see? We know that for sure cloud traffic is this huge topic. So all these SAS applications like Salesforce, Office 365, Slack, Jira, Confluence.
And the sharing should be quite easy, right? Because you can take your deployed instances, you can just back up the configuration of the dashboards that you had there, and then just share that. Is that possible?
It is, but we do prefer to kind of, how to call it, create or manage these configuration templates by ourselves.
Right.
So we will provide some kind of sets or groups dependent on the, I don't know, it might be, as I mentioned, cloud application, something like that, or some L7 protocols. So we will be creating this, but if you have a template that you think it's worth sharing, you can send it to us. We can review it, maybe make some tiny small modifications just to make it generally applicable, and then we can expand it. We can add it to our list of configuration templates.
That's huge. It's just enabling users to see what they might not even thought about before, configuring, just lowering the work on deploying, configuring Flowmon, and just making it just so much easier. And this is huge. So we're looking for this in
Flowmon 10.3,
which is November.
Which no, it's
10.3, right? Okay, it's not 11, so it's coming even
version,
earlier.
It might be some, but it will work the way. There might be some fine-tuning, polishing for Flowmon 11, but the basic functionality will work for Flowmon 10.3, which is planned for end of August.
That's great.
Yeah, so it's hard to beat that, but we have some more support for TLS 1.3 analysis. So in this way, we are kind of expanding our encrypted traffic visibility. We are updating some fields, some that we are able to capture with regards to the new standard. So this will be part of Flowmon 10.3, 10.3, yeah. And write status monitoring and Flowmon Configuration Center means that you will be able to quickly determine the status of your hardware, right? If it's working correctly, if there are any malfunctions on one or more of the hard drives, and basically should give you a better overview of what's going there. So much for Flowmon 10.3, and we are still planning our new major release, or how to say it's new version.
It is a major,
major version, and Flowmon 11, which is currently scheduled for some time October, let's say winter 2019. We will be adding new and redesigned reporting, so similar to Flowmon dashboard, new Flowmon dashboard that was introduced in Flowmon 10.1. We will be introducing new reporting that will be based on the new design, and it will allow to create consolidated reporting from all Flowmon modules. So you will be able to take chapters from all Flowmon modules, create reports, and schedule it for sending for individual users, roles, define the occurrency when this report should be generated, when it could be sent, stuff like that. So again, we are improving the user experience,
the dashboards, how easy it is to get to the relevant data, the high level understanding of what's going on across the whole Flowmon and different applications and networks and security. And it's just making, like for me, it is revolutionary. It's just making life so much easier. You just get there, you deploy Flowmon to cloud, you get some templates for dashboards, profits created, and then you just start using it. And if you don't know where to click, which shouldn't happen that often, but if it does, you have the new HTML user guide that is just super easy to navigate through and gives you hints and tips and everything. It's just it is something to wait for. Yeah,
making huge steps towards improved user experience, usability, and maybe simplicity.
Well, you got me excited. So that...
Okay. So that's great. Yeah, new widgets for Flowmon dashboard. We are planning to do some really high-level overview, system overview widgets, which will basically tell you, okay, if you have ADS, your system is okay, protected, there are no critical incidents, or your application performance, which is that tells you your application performance, like in general overview. can call it management widgets that gives you like really simple overview if everything is okay or if there are any issues. And we do plan some under the hood improvements for enhancing security, product security, and stability. So that's what is planned for Flowmon 11. Of course, there will be some more things that we will eventually add as time goes, but these are the main things that we are aware now and that we want to present. And
we're at the end.
That's pretty much it, yeah, for the roadmap.
Well, thank you, Stu. We've pretty much covered all the questions because we covered some of the things in the presentations, etc. So if you still have some questions, you have a few seconds to send them through now. Stu, thank you very much for your time. It was great. I'm so excited about the news and what's coming in 10.23 and version 11, which is coming in November. So that was great. Thank you very much for all the questions. We will send you the recording, and we'll make sure to update you again with some webinar and some news for the further versions. One question just came through. Is there any way to configure UTC as a time zone in the GUI? Do we know? Can you answer that?
Oh, not from the top of my head. I would have to check. Probably we can if we can follow up on this question later.
Absolutely.
Because I'm not sure about it.
All right. Thank you for the question. We'll follow up on that. And on that, let's close the show today. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Have a great day and see you soon.
Bye.